Right, good evening. If you do have a mobile phone, again, if you'd like to put it on silent, please, thank you.
Or record.
or record, yeah.
Just get used to it.
Tonight, Gayzer Frackman brings us bang up to date with the fracking debacle, sometimes known as our gas problem. Still continuing under corporate pressure and now government interference. Anxious as they are to sink tens of thousands of wells in one of the most populous countries on the planet for its size. Allegedly confident that virtually no pollution will occur. The amount of water used up isn't a problem, and gas will be much cheaper. Sounds like a win-win. The current price of oil on the commodities market is around 50% or less of the break-even price in this country, and set to drop much lower. United States companies going bankrupt and making a right old mess. Locally, Cuadrilla made a mistake in cracking Gayzer's house, amongst others. Now they know Gayzer. He's been down to London 3 times on foot and been on a hunger strike down there as well. He's been more than active in local and national resistance. Gayzer takes action. And the following quote from Gerard Winstanley of the famed Wigan Diggers, who revolted against the so-called authority to feed themselves. His quote: "Words and writing were all nothing and must die, for action is the life of all. And if thou dost not act, thou dost nothing." Please welcome Gayzer Frackman.
Okay, just to also bring everybody up to speed, it's a short notice one as well, wasn't it? So, right from the beginning, I would like everybody just to have a read of that before I start off, because this really is where I'm coming from as a community campaigner. It really is.
Can you just read some of visually?
That's why I'm at now. I was just about to ask you that, because you're a shy bunch. It says, when it gets down to having to use violence, then you are playing the system's game. The establishment will irritate you, pull your beard, flick your face to make you fight. Because once they have got you violent, then they know how to handle you. The only thing they don't know how to handle is non-violence and humour. That's where I come in. So everything we've done so far, to be honest with you, has been in Lancashire, on the Fylde, has been legal, lawful, we've played by their rules, and we've absolutely beaten them. Up to date, we've cost Cuadrilla over 200 million, their own figures. Still no gas coming out of the ground. 6-0 to the Fylde coast. That's people like you, regular people that have done it. Now, tonight really, I just wanted to be more relaxed. Normally when I'm do a lot of travelling around the country off my own back. So what I'm doing is, I'm trying to get the groups together, so I'm a bit more intense. Tonight's fantastic. I get to talk about me. But what it is, I am you. Because 4 years ago, I was a DJ, kids entertainer, had a normal job, had a fantastic life, you know, comfortable, work was coming in, house was ready, and then Cuadrilla fracked it. And we didn't find out till about 6 or 7 months later that it was Cuadrilla that caused the man-made earthquake, and then I looked into fracking. My life's never been the same since. But back in those days, in the old days, the old Gayzer, the Gayzer Tariani, the children's entertainer, the one with the good life, was a happy guy. I was trusted. Hopefully I'm still trusted. But I was trusted. People book you because they like you when you're a DJ, when your kids entertain. They trust you with the children. They trust you to give them a good time. But when I found out about fracking, I've been committed to stopping it since that day, because that was the first thing I said. We have to stop fracking. Not in my, not in my backyard, not here, but everywhere. We've just simply got to stop fracking. And it's just never been a doubt in my mind. Once, the more evidence that I've got about it, the fact that we are going to stop fracking. And hopefully, I think we're very, very close to finishing it this year. And a lot of people don't believe that, But remember, I have been doing it for 4 years. I have seen the difference. I have seen the momentum. And that momentum is building. A great figure, which you're going to get a little bit later. I'm going to show the hard talk as well. And you can, tonight as well, by the way, you can stop me anytime you like to ask me a question, which is what normally we do. Normally we show a video, we do a presentation. I don't want it to be like that tonight. I want it to be, because I am one of you. Even though I'm stood here and a presentation, I'm outgoing, I am one of you. When I do the presentations around the country, all I'm trying to do is give the unsung heroes a voice. That's all I'm trying to do. The ones that have been working doggedly to get the information from to the councils. People like Reef, Ribble Estuary Against Fracking. Cuadrilla have pulled out of it's near Southport called Beaconsall. Cuadrilla have pulled out of there. That is purely down to Reef. I don't take any credit for that, and nobody else should, because they worked damn hard. They were going 3 or 4 months before we were. They have not stopped since that day. And a lot of what's happened in Lancashire is down to Reef. And like I said to you, every time I speak, I have got nothing but admiration for them. And they're still here after, nearly 4.5 years. Still together, still working hard. Still working on the planning. And they'll be there until we stop fracking. But like I said to you, they forced Cuadrilla out. By pure, sheer good... to be honest with you, they were lucky as a group because they filled every box. When you get campaign groups, I know you notice I don't say anti, because I think when you say anti, it's making it sound aggressive, and this is what the companies want to do, and the authorities and the government. We are community campaigners. We're protecting our community. And I just had a word recently, a couple of weeks ago, with Keith Ogle, and I said, if there's one thing that you can do a favour for us, because what do you like? They were patting us on the back for how well behaved we've been at all the protest meetings. They're always surprised, shocked and stunned. And outside Lancashire County Council, we won them over again. We've been to Manchester, we're all over the place. In Preston, the police were actually playing the drums at one point. They said it's a carnival atmosphere. They were hugging us. There was so many tears when we got that decision at Lancashire County Council. They've seen that we're regular people. Listen, that's the government. That's the government. We're not the government. It will not happen here. No matter what, we've done everything that we can do in our power to do it legally.
I mean, the county council have said no to those two on the file, but the government wants to try and overrule them.
Well, I'll come back to that in a second. That's the 9th of February, so I'll come back to that in a second. All right. Yeah, I mean, what it is, I mean, all I'm going to just stress first of all is the fact that when people meet you, because of the press, because of the bad media, because of the lovely BBC, they're getting the wrong picture of us. I'll give an example. When we went to Lancashire County Council on the last time, when we normally go down there on previous presentations, Singleton, Pre-Soul Farm, we've been there already. There was only 3 security on the door, 2, sometimes 3. Never had any problems. Never had any problems. When we got to Lancashire County Council, this was through Cuadrilla, this was through the Democratic department of the Lancashire County Council. It had been hard work, by the way. Put every block in the way to try and stop us. When I went upstairs, we had to sign in downstairs. Oh, there's about 40 or 50 security, by the way, if not more. They're on every door, every level, paid by us, which they didn't need. It was to demonise us. It was to demonise us. Sorry? Oh, well, do you think that happens? Did anybody look intimidated down there? I don't think so. The thing is, though, we went in there with a smile on our face. But just to go back to, so you signed in downstairs, and then you went upstairs and signed in there as well. And when I got upstairs, they said, the guy there just sort of let it slip out. Because remember, these are regular guys, you know. And he said, and I went, Gayzer Frackman. He went, he says, you're nothing like we expected. That, like you were in the brief, you were, you know, we told about in the brief. I went, I never am. Because that's what they want you to believe. And the thing about it, what nobody understands in Lancashire County Council, that's all of them, we spent months putting that presentation together, getting the experts, putting the time in, getting the barristers, to put them in front of Lancashire County Council. Now you tell me, would it be a bright move to do a stunt on that day? Yeah? We're not gormless, you know. And what it was, we put that information in front of Lancashire County Council, and we won. Not just at Preston Road and Rosica, but also Singleton. Now, and does anybody know about Singleton at all? I'll give you a brief update of what Singleton... No? Anybody? Grange Road, Singleton, Ditchfields. Anybody know where the glass formed place? Yeah? well, that's the Ditchfields. They've got a site across from theirs. Okay. Now that well was that they were going to make a decision on that before Prestonwood and Rosica. Okay. What we had done previously was to get all the groups together. We met at Lytham Cricket Club and we got them all to work with each other, because all these communities would have been affected by a filed gas field. What it also meant is, if it wasn't happening where you are, so Freckleton and Singleton, you know, if it wasn't happening where you are, then you were learning from Preston New Road how to deal with the council. So when it comes to your turn, you're not going to be scared, and you'll be able to, you know, you get the other groups supporting you in your area. This is being spread out all over the country at the moment. So Singleton, they had theirs, and originally they wanted to frack it, but because we had such a good objection letter in that went to the Environment Agency, it was explained to the Environment Agency, and that was John Powney and Lawrence Rankin, who is an ex-manager of the Environment Agency. It was that good a letter that they had the permit pulled. Now in that letter it said that Cuadrilla cannot treat the fracking fluid, and I'm going to show you something a little bit later on to back that up. So he said you can't treat the fracking fluid, so you can't frack. So those two sites, what they wanted to do then at Beaconsall, where they pulled out, and Singleton, they were both basically the same wells, they were going to flow test and use seismic monitors as a seismic monitor for the other two wells. So what we did, and the planning officer had said, yeah, go ahead with it. He'd recommended go ahead with it. So it was a lost, as far as we were concerned, it was a lost well. Okay? So what we did, we threw absolutely everything at the Singleton well. To help Prestonwood Road and Rosica, you've always got to think of the long game, or the next group that's coming along, which is what I'll explain again a little bit later on. Don't just think about finishing that well or stopping it where you are. We've got to look at it that grinding the industry down. So what we did, we threw everything at Singleton, and below me, we won. And I now say it's the well that roared, because it was a done deal. We had, you know, every level, the EA, everything was against us, and we won by 1 vote. And I think a major part of it was Michael. And the thing is, a lot of people don't see what you do on the 30 minutes. I'll explain how it works at the council, at all councils. What you do, 2 days before, you're allowed to have, each group can have a 30-minute slot. And you can put whoever you want in that 30-minute slot. So it could be, you know, an engineer, it could be a geologist, a scientist, a doctor in those 30 minutes. Now, Singleton, we only had 1.5 hour. 2 days before they had the decision, 1.5 hour. So we had the local family, which was Karen and the daughter, and John Ditchfield spoke. There was somebody speaking on birds, I think it was, and then Mike Hill came on the last bit, and my jaw dropped because it was so impressive of how it came over. And what he said was, in his 2 minutes, he said, I phoned up the EA this morning in London, and they said that they will not regulate that well post-abandonment, after it's abandoned. And if it isn't, then you've got to throw it out. Now, he was a bit more passionate than what I was doing then. I could be more but he was really, and I went, and like I said, we won by 1 vote. Not just saying what he was, it was a good presentation. On the day of the presentation, you get to say 4 minutes, speak for 4 minutes. So you can get as many people as you can. You've got to book in, and then you get to put over your concerns or evidence. And on that day, they make a decision. And what I'm going to do later on again, I'm going to show you one lady that we knew then that we were onto something, because what we did, we spoon-fed that planning committee, because originally it was just the first 4 wells. It was not Francis Egan, it's on the brain. Stuart Perigo had rubber stamped the first 4 wells. So Anna's Row, Pre-Sol, all them, just by 1 person, rubber stamped, got under the radar. So earthquake, that's how it got through. Again, down to Reef and their objection letters, they got it in front of the planning committee, which was 15 people. So what we did is we spoon-fed them the questions to grill the planning officer, and that's what gave us teeth. So at Singleton, it worked, and that's how that's how we won. But I'm going to show you one particular councillor. Everybody else was asking questions, and it was like the planning officer, Stuart Perigo. It was like getting hit by another question. It was a little bit. You felt a bit sorry. No, you didn't feel sorry for him. But the fact is, they were grilling him, and at one point he said, "Can you repeat the question?" And the councillor said, watch the video, because it's on webcam. When they do the 4 minutes, the only time it's on live feed. And he went, watch the video. Now, they would have never done that before, I don't think, because he was a bit like a god, you know, they went with what he said most of the time. So we knew then that we had the power to spoon feed them. What we did after that was we got organised before January. We got, like I said, we got the experts in, made sure that each group had their experts in, and also local opinion as well. And what was I going to say then? So we did the 30 minutes. Oh, I've just lost my thread there for a second. Did the 30 minutes, got the experts in, and we won. Eh?
You were talking about the 4-minute presentation
4 minutes.
on the day.
Yeah. Anyhow, we won. Yeah, well, and like I says, you know, and the thing is, how many people know about Blackpool Football Club? Do you guys create this relaxing, just being able to just say what you know, rather than having an end goal. Right, and like I said, anytime you want to stop me, you can stop me and ask a question. All right, there's none of this to do a presentation thing, just ask the question, because like I said, I want it to be, because talking to your mates, talking to, you know, like you know, the person you would ask questions to. I forgot my other thread now. 200 million. Eh? Yeah, Blackpool Football Club. Now, we won at Lancashire County Council back in June. Now, no matter what happens from now on, it's going to be a win for us. Because think about it. Democracy. 9 people out of those 15 people voted against Preston New Road and Rosica and Singleton. Okay? Now, the Secretary of State wants to step in and overrule democracy.
Yeah.
Now, we are convinced, without a shadow of a doubt, that truth will stop fracking. Because look at it this way. We keep saying truth is going to stop fracking outside Blackpool Football Club. Truth is going to stop fracking. There's no doubt about it, it's overwhelming. The truth is going to stop fracking. It's overwhelming. We've got testimonies. We've got America, we've got Australia, Canada, all over the world where it's been done. We've got 100% failure rate for Cuadrilla, for God's sake, here. So the truth has to stop fracking. The only thing that's going to overrule it is a government that wants it. Predetermination. So no matter what happens at Blackpool Football Club, it's a win for us. And the worst thing that they could do is overrule that decision. Because every single council will be fired up and saying, democracy is dead in this country. They're already rising up now. Lancashire County Councillors and Lancashire County Council have already put Lancashire County Council, I just had a vote recently about the fact that the government's got predetermination. Greg Clark has already got predetermination. If you've got a councillor that's got an opinion either way, they can't vote on it. So if you go into you know, like in the planning committee, and they say you're a known anti-fracker or whatever, then you can't vote. So it's predetermination. So already the councillors are now, and the councils around the country are now, you know, opposed to fracking in one shape or form. So no matter what happens at Blackpool Football Club, we've already won. And let's look at it this way. Whatever stage we're getting at now, I will not stop fracking. I will stop fracking, I should say. Will you stop fracking? Yeah, and there's thousands of others who's going to stop fracking. It's only a matter of time. It really is only a matter of time. But everything we've done so far and everything we do in the future will be peaceful and lawful. And that's how we keep the public on side. Because they're seeing it's regular people. I mean, you were on the front, weren't you, yesterday? How many people were at the No Fracking White, which was a really big success, by the way. I think whoever put that together, fantastic idea. Well, I wish there'd been more. I've only seen 3 hands and I was at 1. But what it was all over the country. I think there was over 30 groups, if not more, about 30 groups. But that's not only, and you was as well.
No, my friends, it's breaking free from my friends that went to it.
Yeah, well, there's 150 on the front, and you're going to love this. Apparently, the pro frackers, well, there's only about 6 of them. We'll say 6, but only half turned up. The others stayed in bed. Some are scared of us for some apparent reason. One turned up in a banana suit. And apparently, and I've got to still, we've got any photographs yet, but apparently one was waving a Russian flag. which is a wee bit stupid because, I mean, you've heard about a banana skin, haven't you? Well, there's a major banana skin. One, they've only got 3 people there, and we get no gas from Russia. We've established that. We get no gas from Russia. And again, that's going to be confirmed a bit later on.
Well, they're friendly anyway.
Who is that?
Russia.
Of course they are, yeah. And that's what my point being. Lord Brown has left the government and gone to work for the Russians. Hello. And where they're drilling? In the North Sea. But we're running out of gas in the North Sea. £10 billion he's got, a pot to go and drill in the North Sea. But we're running out of gas in the North Sea.
Oh, he's a wrong one anyway.
He's absolutely a wrong un.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
Regarding, you were talking about members of the public who are pro-fracking.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever have any dialogue to discover what it is that motivates that decision?
So the pro-frackers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yesterday, sorry to interrupt. Yesterday,
No, I found out who it is.
a guy came over while we were doing our, basically talking to a lot of press and that.
BBC.
And he said, "We need it. It'll make gas prices cheaper." And we were like, "Is there anything else? Have you got anything else?" And we were like, "No, but it'll make our bills cheaper." And that was it. That's all. That was it.
Yeah.
That was all he had.
And they normally just walk away from you. They'll say,
yeah.
cheap. They'll give you one thing. They go, cheaper, or it's jobs, you people, and then they walk off and you will not have dialogue with you.
So what you're really saying is that they are reiterating the sort of
What they've heard.
the
Yeah.
mainstream narrative regarding, the procedures.
Yeah, they managed to rub 2 brain cells together to actually have a thought.
Is there any proof that that it's made gas prices cheaper in I understand it's a very expensive operation anyway.
Well, especially with the gas prices now. Listen, we've had it from Lord Brown, we've had it from Osborne, and even Francis Egan. It's not guaranteed to bring gas prices down.
Is there any evidence it ever has though?
Well, in America, but it's a completely different market. One, it's insular, and secondly, when they had it was an unusual high price to start off with because I think it was pre-recession or after the recession. So when everybody's at home working, it's plummeted. So it was unusual, and then also you had the government pumping billions in, and the oil and gas companies pumping billions in. But now they're all mothballing, aren't they? That's the next bubble. It's only a matter of time now.
Take it seen the Welsh First Minister on the Parliament channel, praising the virtues of the Bay project.
Oh yeah.
More than enough for Wales, that more than enough.
Well, I heard a weird thing today. In Spain, they've got the biggest solar plant. I just saw that tonight. It's amazing. Every single day there's something for us. Another group winning around the world because this is global. It's not just down in this country, all over the world. And it's finished Abbott in Australia. Don't know, but Abbott was a ex-boxer, was Prime Minister. He's been deposed because he's been back in Quebec. Well, I'm just guessing it's that. I'm not 100% sure, but he's gone. He's been deposed. And it's only a matter of time that Cameron's deposed. Because remember, there's a poll tax moment with Maggie Thatcher. It was a very strong person. Is that smoke coming from something? Because nobody's smoking in here. No, I thought the lens was on fire there. Did you see how casual that was then? No, not Mr. Badridge. It was just like, there's a bit of smoke there. You could come to my next disco and just walk in front of the light because you can't use them anymore. Where was I again? I've just forgotten. Oh, it's global, eh? Yeah, Cameron's a coward. He doesn't face us. I've been down to London with nearly 30 groups. We've got some good news again. I'll tell you a little bit later on because I like to leave people on a high because I've got one or two bad things that's been happening as well with me and what's been around the sort of groups as well. But we'll talk about that. But I like to leave people on a high as well. I wish the only thing I can't find is that a little bit of Blackpool rock. I think one or two people have heard it in here before. And it's a guy singing George Formby, and it's all connected with it. Again, he's from Reef. So I'll try and find that in the second half somewhere. Because they've really garbled up. Whoever's been hacking me have really messed up all my files. So what we're going to put on now is... now don't throw anything, right? It's not really here. It's Elf Egan, all right? And it's when he's on Hard Talk. Now, if you want to stop it any time, just put your hands up and I'll pause it and answer any questions. Because what he does is, it keeps reverting back to the lies he's been saying over and over again. And this guy, the guy that's interviewing, doesn't really know about fracking. You know what I mean? He's done it, you know, and even some of the information or some of the references I've never heard of. So again, it's new references to us. But the fact is, he's got this. Francis Egan's the best they've got, and this guy that doesn't know about fracking has grilled him, and you see how he's sort of moving in the chairs. How many people have seen this piece before on our talk? Oh, you're in for a treat, the rest of you then. And like I said, because we're not going to have to watch it, you can watch it all the way through. But I'm saying to you, if there's any bit that you want to ask a question, remember, we've heard these lies 1,000 times. Elf Egan has never seen me face to face. In fact, has anybody in here seen Elf Egan face to face? Yeah? Did you get him?
No, he ran away. Serious. He ran away, got in his car and locked the door.
Yeah. I've just got to tell you this funny thing. I was this close to it, but I was in Salisbury and we were waiting for him outside the hotel. I still can't believe he did it to this day.
You were with us.
What's that?
When we saw Egan, we were together. We were all together.
Yeah, were you?
On the
Well, maybe I didn't see him. Maybe it was a bit slick for me, that, you know what I mean? Remember, I'm knocking on now. It was my birthday yesterday. So, anyhow, I'll just to tell you my story.
Just let him finish off his instructions. It was on the motorway services.
Oh, right. No, well, there's only you saw him. I didn't see him.
He got out of his car.
Yeah.
We stopped right at the back of his car, and he ran back into his car
Yeah.
and locked the doors.
It was just before a traffic jam, wasn't it? I remember that. Yeah, hello. He got past it, he probably caused it. So I was going to say then, yeah, what it was, Salisbury, there's like a Salisbury Hotel, it's up on a hill. And when they came down, they were doing a meeting in there, you know, the wheeling and dealing. And the cars go, you know, when they go side by side, you can go right or left. Well, the car he was in actually went to the right, because there was another car waiting to go. He went to the lane and we thought we were going to turn right. And he didn't, he turned left. And I looked on the back seat, and there's Egan. It was carrying on the back seat, because he thought we were going to be banging on the window tray. That's how sad he is. So going like that, we were just, anyhow, you can imagine that we were just laughing our heads off after that one. We couldn't believe it. We see you. But this is how sad they are. They will not see us face to face. So I'm going to put our talk on. This guy, like I said, it was a good interview. And when they get interviewed by people that know what they're talking about, they have nowhere to go, because we've heard the lies over and over again. Remember, don't throw anything.
Welcome to Hard Talk. I'm Stephen Sacker. The oil price crash has put fossil fuel producers under huge pressure. Profits are evaporating. New exploration looks like a massive gamble. And to cap it all, world leaders are now committed to a radical decarbonisation of the global economy. Tough times for my guest today, Francis Egan, boss of Cuadrilla, the company leading the charge to bring fracking to the UK. Do the realities of economics, politics and environmental concern mean fracking has lost its appeal? Francis Egan, welcome to Hard Talk. Thank you. This is an incredibly negative climate for a business such as yours, isn't it?
Well, there are pluses and minuses, like any time in any industry. Obviously, as you said in the introduction, the oil price and the gas price are close to historic lows.
And still sinking, it looks.
Well, still dropping. I don't know if sinking is the right word, but certainly dropping. But of course, we're in the unfortunate position. We're not a producer, so it doesn't really impact us from a revenue point of view.
Well, that's a very interesting way of putting it. You're not a producer because you are, in a sense, a speculative company that's all about exploration, trying to find new reserves. Indeed, in your case, new reserves that you can frack. But that's almost the worst place to be, because you need to convince investors it's worth taking a punt on the future. And why would they?
Well, because they already have, in our case. So we already have investors on board. We've already drilled wells, albeit in better times, but price-wise. But of course, in drilling those wells, we have proven that there is an enormous quantity of gas under the ground in Lancashire. In fact, the British Geological Survey subsequently confirmed it extends across the entire north of the UK. So we have taken a lot of what we might call the technical risk out of it, except for one very important challenge, which is to demonstrate that the quantity of gas in the ground can be made to flow out of the ground, which is where we're at in the exploration process.
Right, which is a technical challenge, but there's also a major sort of business model challenge, because if the price continues to go down, it is going to cross a threshold where, however much there is in the ground, it's not going to be economic for you to bring it out.
Well, I've been in the oil and gas industry long enough, and 30 plus years, to know that oil prices go down, and like everything else in the commodity world, oil prices come up.
But the timing's crucial. I mean, I'm sure you know better than me, the Department of Energy here has just slashed its projection of gas prices going forward to 2020. We're not talking about a blip here, we're talking about a new reality.
Well, again, I would be a little cautious about new realities, because I remember the super cycle model when iron ore prices were never going to go down, which was the new reality then, and now we have another new reality, which is that the oil price will never come back up again. What I would say is that what's actually happening, which is I think is a concern and should be a concern for the UK, is that North Sea production, some of the highest cost production in the world, is being very badly hit, and I think is not going to come back, unfortunately, in what disappears over the next couple of years. You know, you can see how resilient fracking and shale was in the US. Saudi Arabia undertook this strategy of opening the taps in order to drive ostensibly US shale out of the market, and it stayed resilient at 50, 40, 30. Now we're down to 20, but we will undoubtedly see shale production declining in the US, but equally it's easy for it to come back on because it's low capital investment and it doesn't cost a lot to turn it off, and it doesn't cost a lot to turn it off. We will not see the North Sea coming back on.
Well, I do want to talk more about the international perspective later, but I want to stick for the moment with your business model. You're a company that's committed to what I'm going to call throughout this interview fracking, which is the exploitation of gas reserves and sometimes oil as well by hydraulic processes in rock, way underground. That's what you do. And you say, well, look, you know, our investors are already in for the long term. We know the gas is under the rock, and we can pull it out. But I come back to this point about uncertainty. It's not just about price. It's also about the sort of political climate. The uncertainty for you is that most people in Britain, certainly the communities where you want to frack, do not want you there. And that's a big problem for you.
Well, it would be were it true, but it's not the case. I mean, I spend a lot of time, as you might imagine, in Lancashire, and I certainly don't deny that there are people who are opposed to it. But I talk to a lot of people who are for it. I talk to a lot of business people who are for it. I talk to a lot of unemployed people in Blackpool who are for it. And if you look at the actual data, you look at the polling, what you'll find is that there is a small group of vociferously opposed people, about 20%. There is an equally sized group of people vociferously in favour. The vast majority of people in the UK have yet to make up their minds. So
well, you're not reading the same polls as me. YouGov poll, the most recent one I've seen, shows a significant shift of the national public opinion, the mood, against fracking. 43% say shale gas extraction should not happen in the UK. 29% are in favour, and that's a big shift against.
Well, I have not seen those numbers, because the numbers that I have seen consistently have shown the majority have yet to make up their minds.
Well, let's not talk polls then. Let's just talk reality. As you've said, your focus right now is in Lancashire, northwest of England. You believe there's a very significant gas field in the rock there, but the democratically elected local council have considered everything that you want to do, and they just refuse to give you the planning permissions that you need. And that's democracy in action. They're elected by the people, and they are telling you you can't operate.
Yeah, the planning process is, rightly as you say, a democratic process. We went through that in Lancashire. Interestingly, we ticked every single box on all the safety and environmental issues, and it's correct to say that they turned it down, but not on grounds of safety, environment, emissions, water, any of the things that you might read about or hear about on the TV. They turned it down what I might call, they're not unimportant, but they're fairly traditional planning issues of traffic and noise. So clearly we did not get approval, but the planning process takes account of the local needs as it should, but also the national need, and that is why we have and are appealing. The planning officers themselves recommended approval, and the council's own legal department recommended approval.
But it's this point about uncertainty again. You know, we've talked about the prices, we'll talk in a minute about environmental concerns, but just in terms of politics and planning, I read an interview with you a year and a half ago where you said, you know, I'm sure that we will be fracking in Lancashire by the end of 2015. Well, here we are in 2016, and there's still no sign of you getting the green light.
Well, I'm amazed that I said I'm sure, because I've been in the oil and gas business long enough to know that surety is a rare
you were overwhelmed with optimism on that particular day.
But what I would say is that I know, you know, the argument that there's political uncertainty, that there's price uncertainty. Well, welcome to the oil and gas business. That's the world we live in. There is nowhere in the world where you can explore for and produce oil and gas that there isn't political uncertainty or price uncertainty, and some of the places you have to go, if you can't develop your own indigenous resource, such as the Middle East, North Africa, Russia, have a lot more uncertainty. And what I would say is Do we really want to be wholly reliant for our energy resources on them? It's fine now while it's cheap and plentiful. That won't be the case always.
No, but you've already talked about the United States. I mean, shale exploration production has revolutionized the energy market in the United States. They've got a glut. They've got so much oil and gas they don't know what to do with it almost. And they are prepared to sell quite a lot of it into Europe and into the UK, which again changes the calculation. Do we really, in a very densely populated land, unlike Texas or North Dakota, where they've got these vast tracts of empty land where they can do their fracking, we don't have that. Do we need to frack when we can actually buy liquid natural gas, get it tanked over from the United States? That's the new reality.
So, well, let me say just two things about that, if I may. The first, there is this, what I might call an urban myth, that all this is happening in the United States in some kind of, unpopulated frack park where nobody lives. If you look at the Environmental Protection Agency study, the US Environmental Protection Agency study, the stats in there are that in 2013 there were 9 million people in the US living within 1 mile of at least one hydraulically fractured well. 9 million. And there were 7,000 or 8,000 public sources of water supply within 1 mile of hydraulically fractured well. So it's not the case that the US this is somehow all happening out in the desert.
In one of those areas where there is quite dense population in a field, a frack field, New York State, in that very big eastern gas reserve in the rock, New York State has decided to ban fracking because they believe that the health, the public health issues are so uncertain, so many, to quote them, red flags, that they've put a ban on it.
Which is, quite correct and gets a huge amount of publicity, and you've repeated it again, and nobody talks about the 23 states in the US where it's been going on for the last 10 years with no environmental or health repercussions. Lots of allegations.
Well,
there isn't a single case in the US, and let me just finish this point. There's not one case in the US where a public water supply has been contaminated, interfered with, or impacted by fracking. Not one. And in this country, our water is supplied by 99% of our water comes from public water supplies. In 10 years, hundreds of thousands of wells, millions of fractures, no impact on US public water supply.
Well, let us unpick then. I think you've now brought us into the various environmental arguments about the wisdom of fracking. Let's get into some of them. You talk about water. Let me just quote to you from the Journal of Epidemiology and Community Health, an article by Dr. Madeleine Finkel. This is based on research in New York. The available science raises substantial questions about the harm to health. People living near drilling sites are presenting with symptoms, for example, skin rashes, nausea, abdominal pain, respiratory difficulties, headaches, dizziness. I could go on, there's many more. These, they say, demand further investigation.
Now, and I would say that is entirely typical of the claims against fracking. There is not one single fact that links any of that to fracking in what you said, and I suspect if you read the paper would be likewise. I have seen dozens of those. And it's very easy, in fact, almost too easy, to make assertions of negative health outcomes. If you want to claim a positive health outcome for a product, you have to jump through enormous hoops. Tests, blind tests. You can't put a drug on the market and say it's going to cure cancer and not go through all that. You can put a study out there and say, fracking killed my cat, and there is increasing evidence.
But
there's no data.
This is the Journal of Epidemiology and Community Health. Now, I'm not a regular reader of it, but I dare say it's highly respected in the United States.
Yeah.
So is the Environmental Protection Agency. They looked at Pavilion, Wyoming, not a place I know myself, but they have investigated allegations that fracking has affected the drinking water there, and they say that more investigation is needed.
Well, if you looked at the conclusions, and I think the Environmental Protection Agency studied 38,000 or so wells for over 5 years, and they concluded that there is no evidence of systemic pollution to US drinking water supplies. And I'll say again what I said a minute ago, there isn't a single case of public water supply being impacted in the US. And I'll be glad to be corrected if someone can point to one case where a public water supply... And why would there be...
The problem here, I mean, the New York Public Health Commissioner, he basically said, look, I wouldn't want my kids to be brought up next to a fracking site. And that isn't that part of the problem. It's easy for you as the chief executive of the company so committed to fracking to tell people it's safe, but when I tell you that there are serious doubts from communities right next to fracking sites, you seem to dismiss their fears.
No, I'm not dismissing their fears. don't get me wrong, I think the fears are absolutely and obviously genuine. And I'm not surprised with the degree of scaremongering that goes on around this, frankly. But if you look at the data as opposed to the assertions, it's not supported. Here in the UK, we would be injecting water, sand, and one non-hazardous chemical at depths of 8,500 feet into rock through an 8-inch hole, miles away from public water supply sources. Methane is not a contaminant. You cannot contaminate groundwater with methane. Most groundwater already contains methane. And I think there is a perception somehow in the UK that the aquifer is some sort of pool of Evian that you drill into and the water comes into your tap. Water comes out of the ground, often containing methane, goes into a treatment plant which extracts it, and lots of other things besides, and then goes into the public water supply.
Yeah.
There is little to no risk. But what we're ignoring is
for a second. It's just, in the end, it comes down to how much an independent investigation is required before there can be certainty here about some of these health issues. I mean, celebrities from Paul McCartney to Vivienne Westwood, when you were trying to frack in Sussex, or at least to drill in Sussex, they launched a public petition saying that they didn't want any of this to go ahead until there had been the most rigorous, independent investigation, which they claim in the UK has never happened. Are you prepared to back that?
Well, you'll forgive me if I think that the energy policy of the UK shouldn't be driven by Paul McCartney. I have a huge respect for his music, or Vivienne Westwood for that matter.
The reason that matters is because we talk public opinion. Public opinion, as I've said, is moving against you. You have to address the degree to which this is now in the public domain, and the question is whether you're prepared to accept a thoroughgoing, rigorous, independent investigation of this area of uncertainty.
Well, let me answer that, and then maybe talk a little bit because we rarely get the chance about the benefits of fracking. So there already has been. The Royal Society, the Royal Academy of Engineering, two of the most respected institutions in the UK, have done that. Public Health England have done that. The Environment Agency studied the permits for which we applied for activity in Lancashire for 12 months plus. They concluded there was no risk to health or to water supplies and gave us the permits we needed. And as I said, Lancashire County Council turned the applications down not on any health or safety or environmental issues, but on the grounds of noise and traffic, which are important, but they're not what we've been talking about. Now, set against that, the country's running out of gas. We are literally running out of gas. We will be entirely reliant.
We just talked about the lowest gas price for many, many years. Yeah. We just talked about the degree to which Britain now, if it wants to, can import liquid natural gas from all over the world. Where's this gas shortage?
Well, the gas shortage is in the UK, and of course you can import liquid natural gas, but there's two things about that. One, you are reliant on where you're supplying it from. So
all over the world, because frankly,
it's not all over the world.
There's a glut in the world. I mean, that's why the price is coming down. This is the market.
Yes, but it's not that straightforward to take gas, transform it into a liquid, put it on a ship it halfway across the world, transform it again back into gas, and then take it to your house or my house. Plus, not only is it not straightforward, it's expensive, and finally, and lastly but not leastly, it's hugely environmentally unfriendly compared to producing it next to the source of demand. The environmental requirements for LNG have been shown in terms of CO2 emissions to be 2 to 3 times what domestically produced gas would be.
I guess then we ought to come to the other huge issue facing you guys at the moment, which is the climate change agenda and the degree to which it makes sense to contemplate another attempt to tap into the reserves of fossil fuel under the ground when political leaders across the world have committed, for the first time really, to a serious and wholesale decarbonisation of the world economy.
Well, can I come back a little to why you would be wanting to do that? I mean, I've talked about the security of supply, which is not a trivial issue. I know you can, in theory, rely entirely for your energy supply on imports, but it's not a position that many countries feel comfortable about doing, and the US certainly didn't feel comfortable about doing, which is why they got on to do this in the first place.
Even your former chairman, Lord Brown, has said, you know what, if we do or do not develop our fracking natural gas resources in the UK, it's going to make no difference to the price of gas inside the UK. Well, so the gas is going to be available to be bought at pretty much the same price whether we frack in the UK or not.
Well, I admire your faith in Lord Brown's price forecasting ability.
Well, you presumably admired him because he was chairman of your company.
Well, I certainly admired him. He has achieved enormous things in the oil and gas industry, but I think he himself would admit that forecasting the oil and gas price is a mug's game. Nobody forecasts the current price.
He wasn't talking about a specific price, he was just talking about the concept. Whether or not you tap into the, you say huge, but frankly in world terms limited resource.
Well, we're not talking world terms, we're talking about...
Well, we're talking about global gas prices, aren't we?
No, we're talking about developing gas for the UK market. Now, I know you're putting forward the theory that you can, switch on an LNG plant and pop it on a ship and transport it from Algiers to Blackpool, in the flick of a switch. You can't. Gas is not actually as transportable as you might think it is. It requires a huge amount of capital investment to do that. So you do develop local pricing. You've seen it in the US. Why is the price of gas $2 in the US and $10 in Japan if it's so easy to transport gas from one country to another? It's not. So we should not, in my mind, it would be irresponsible for us not to even look, not to even explore our own natural resources.
Well, I understand that, and it's taken us back to an issue of markets and prices, but let's get back to climate change, because, I'm sure you watched events in Paris just like the rest of us did, and you must have got the message that, it is time to accept that a lot of the fossil fuel on this planet needs to be left in the ground.
Let's talk about that. I mean, you will be well aware that at the moment in the UK, about 85% of our energy is fossil fuels, and that's reflected, comes from fossil fuels. And by energy, of course, it's not just electricity, it's transport and heating as well. And that's about the same globally if you look at the global supply and demand of energy. 85% comes from fossil fuels, the rest comes from a mixture of renewables, nuclear, etc. So absolutely, there is a desire and intent, and I understand why, to move from 85% to 0%. But you can't move from 85% to 0% in the flick of a switch. And all fossil fuels are not equal, to misquote George Orwell. And we should not make, the perfect the enemy of the good. We should not say the perfect situation is we have all renewables. Gas is good.
Well,
natural gas is very good.
Coming back to uncertainties, there are people like Friends of the Earth, there are Greenpeace, Dr. Jeremy Leggett, whom I'm sure you know well, the solar guy. They all say there's significant evidence that the methane leakage that comes with what you do is so severe, or potentially so severe, that it could make fracking as damaging to emissions as coal-fired, coal-fired
I think that is based on one study out of the US, that has been studied at length here by Dr. Mackay, who's DEC's chief scientist, and he concluded that fracking natural gas produced in fracking is broadly the same as natural gas produced from conventional oil reservoirs. And why wouldn't it be? It's
well, you can quote your studies, I can quote mine. Again, we come back to uncertainty. There's a degree of uncertainty about how much methane your operations are going to put into the atmosphere.
No, I would take issue with you there, because there is one study, and there are innumerable other studies contradicting that. I don't think anybody reasonably actually accepts that now. I think that argument has been completely debunked.
So your argument to me, or not to me, but to the world is, we accept that we need to be moving to a decarbonised economy. We need to be moving to a fully renewable, sustainable economy. But in the meantime, give us permission to bring out of the ground vast amounts of new fossil fuel. Does that make sense?
My argument to you and to anybody else, frankly, is we need natural gas in this country. There are people around this country watching this now who have their central heating boilers turned on. 85% of the UK uses gas for heating. 60-odd% uses it for cooking. We are not going to be stopping using natural gas in this country for decades. The Department of Energy and Climate Change have come out. The Climate Change Committee have forecast the same. There will be natural gas used in the country. No question. The only question is, where are we going to get it from? I repeat, I think it would be irresponsible not to even look, bearing in mind we're at the exploration phase, not to even explore and see, can we produce that gas under the ground safely, environmentally responsibly? We're talking about a handful of wells to assess that. And we're not even going to look at that? And we're going to import it from Algeria and Russia?
So what then do you need to happen? Because I come back to the ambitions you've had and the way they've been thwarted. You hoped now to be operating in Lancashire. You're not, because you're not allowed to. Is it, in your view, a political failure, a failure of will to get this moving, or what is it, and what needs to happen?
Well, I think it's like anything new in a way, particularly anything new going through planning, and fracking is certainly not unique in this way. We've seen it with Heathrow, we've seen it with HS2, you see it with any infrastructure development is it's a slow process to get started. And until you get started, you're open to all these assertions that it'll do this, it'll do that. And it's very hard to disprove an assertion when you can't point to anything actually happening.
No, I suppose the question is whether in the end, and Mr. Cameron, Prime Minister, he said that, he wants to go for it when it comes to fracking. In the end, is this an issue, in your view, that is too important to be allowed to be blocked by local democracy?
Well, I think, we don't have what I've described as a pick and mix democracy. You don't take the bits you like and discard the bits you don't like. So we've been through the local planning process. We've achieved a lot through that. As I said, we didn't achieve all the approvals, but we ticked a lot of boxes going through that. But it is an issue of national importance, which is why the Secretary of State has called it in, which is why he said he's called it in. We're not the only ones to get called in. They call in about 100 of these a year through the whole spectrum of industries. But clearly it's an issue of national importance. It would be, I go back and say it again, it would be irrational, I think, of us not to even explore our own resources.
How long will you give this before you give up?
Well, I don't have any intention of giving up soon. You've quoted me. I hope you've misquoted me as saying that we would be sure to be fracking by the end of 2015. But I intend to see this through, because we need to drill and see whether this can be technically produced. We have always been upfront and said we don't know that yet.
All right. Well, we'll come back and revisit this when you know for sure. But Francis Egan, for now, thank you very much for being on Hard Talk.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
This is what he did then. Anybody?
Yeah.
Yeah? It goes on, it comes up, it's valid. But then I'll say it's just not going to do. Right, whatever you see here about the North Sea, whatever you hear about the North Sea, even the fact that Lord Brown has got a £10 billion pot to drill in the North Sea, where there's no gas, no oil, just 10 billion just to waste, but that's not going to happen. But Shale's okay. You know what I'm saying? It just contradicts all the time. Same in government.
Health problems due to them doing this, and there's a lot of people on medication because of it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that in there.
Yeah. Well, there's there's underweight bursts, there's still-bursts, we're just hitting the tip of the iceberg. And remember how long it's been going on for as well. We're only looking within the last 15 years. This is a cumulative thing. Now, just to remind everybody, has anybody heard about the gas leak in LA? Yeah, 2,000 people have been moved and everything. Nearly every single thing that's on the list of the armed and people have been affected by. Remember, that's cumulative, so it's been like a slow leak. They are getting that instant because it's overwhelming. They're getting nosebleeds, they're getting headaches, people are fainting, animals are dying. So because it's just, and what gets me is it's 20 miles from Hollywood. No, that was a good one. 20 miles from Hollywood. I actually feel like that, the Oscars now. But 20 miles from Hollywood, and it's not even on our TV. We've got the Oscars coming up shortly, haven't we? Next 2 or 3 weeks. Nothing heard about it whatsoever. 20 miles. No, what it is, it's a gas storage. Oh, where have I heard gas storage before? Somebody's overruled a gas storage. We'll come to that in a second or two. No, it's gas storage. What's happened is there was supposed to be a valve put on it, and it wasn't put on previously by this company. But it's broken further down the well. Now, when they tried to pressurise it with cement and chemicals and things, remember chemicals again, the pressure was too much coming out than going in, and they were going to damage the pipe more. So they've stopped doing that. So what they're going to do now is drill down the side of it and then try and cap it off below. But it's going to be at least another month. So you can add 2 or 3 months to that, can't you? They're just trying to give you an end date on it so people don't panic. But the thing is, the damage is done. These people aren't going to move back to their houses. Their lives are over. The life they had before is over. And this is just one site. It's millions and millions of cars worth of CO2, methane. It's just damaging, isn't it?
And this is in America where they sue everybody for everything, and everyone's always dotting all the I's and crossing the T's. That's where
We just got to get the word out. We got to make sure social media absolutely gets it out there, because eventually you will hear about it eventually when it's too late. But you never know with Hollywood being down the road. But again, multi-billion-pound business. Will you hear about it? I don't know. But can't let them get away with that one. There is world contamination, and there's plenty of evidence for it. There's 2 things. One is it's talking about capital investment, which is really, really, really expensive. That's where they need all the money from. And he says he needs a handful of wells. To get to the production, they're talking about thousands of wells. So one contradicts every time he opened his mouth, He's not a stupid guy, Shulman. What was his name again? Anyway, whatever his name was. Yeah, the gas man. But like I said, it literally ages at the end of it. He's so happy that that's over with. That's going to be another 500,000 people going, what's this bloody fracking? Doesn't sound right to me. He looks a bit shady. Would you buy a car from him? Not a chance. Would you buy a gas-powered car from him? And 85%, where does he get that figure from? Just figures keep just pouring out of him, and because he's on TV, thousands of people are listening to it. But that is not convincing. It's just not convincing. And the people,
4 years ago, wasn't he?
I was going to say that people that are up at 4:30 in the morning won't believe him neither. Right, it's brew time now. So if anybody got any questions or anything, I'll be willing to help you. All right. Okay, with that pen. Okay, the story so far, just to bring you up to speed with, again, it's talking about being a campaigner, a community campaigner, and our regular person can go from being a entertainer and DJ to stopping fracking. And you don't do it by yourself, you do it with groups, you do it with people, but sometimes you can make a difference. And I was looking at this photograph and it just reminded me of something that I've done that I sort of forgot about because I've done so many things. Now this here is Anna's Road. The site there is now back to a field. Right? It's all the sites in Lancashire and Fylde, they wanted to frack. They wanted to frack this one. But they had all sorts of problems with it. Initially, they drilled down 2,000 feet and the cement wouldn't set, and they put a packer down there that got stuck, and they're under the drilling window, which is once they start drilling. In a 6-month window, they've got to start and finish within 3 months. So it could be the beginning 3 months or the end 3 months. But what happened was, they had loads of problems with it, the cement wouldn't set, all sorts of problems, and they didn't have enough time to move the drill and then drill another well. So they didn't bother with an application, and this site now, at Anna's Road, is now a field. And just to let you know though, that little bit there at the end, me and my little van and my little friend stayed there for about 6 days, day and night. And the security from here, the Gurkhas, they did a perimeter patrol every 2 hours. And then one night or one day, they went, "Oh, who are you?" I went, "I'm Gayzer Frackman. Pleased to meet you. I'm here to stop your well." So they went, "You're only one person. What are you going to do against a multi-million-pound company?" I said, "I don't have to do anything. See them houses over there?" As I pointed over with my left hand, I said, "They're £1 million houses over there. They don't know that you're here and that you're fracking." So by the end of that 5 days, and it wasn't nice, was it? Well, odd days, it was okay. My mate over there helped me out. And within 6 weeks, so they were sort of laughing at me, going, "What can you do? What can you do?" I said, "Well, I'm just here to let them know over there in those £1 million houses what you're doing and who you are, and give them information. That's all I did, and speak to people. In fact, I was that well wrapped up that nobody knew it was me. Even people that knew me didn't know it was me. Even though I had a big sign on top of the van going "No Cuadrilla" and a big fracking sign at the side of it. I can't find a photograph. Of it. But what I'm saying to you is, it just shows that one person can make a difference. Now, I'm not saying that finished it, and never take the credit for it. What I'm saying to you is, it made people aware. And then if you're going to get in a person, remember, if you're in £1 million houses, there's a good chance that you're a lawyer or got connections. You only need them to have a word in Menzies' ear to pass it on, saying close it down. And 6 weeks later, all that was gone. And the same two guys were on the gate. I was on the other side of the gate recording. I went, did all right, didn't I? You know, like you do.
You better lose that.
And then he says, you cost a lot of good men their jobs. I went, good. I said, if you're going to go down to Bolcombe now, because this was pre-Bolcombe, now you're going to go down to Bolcombe and start drilling down there now, be security on the gates down there. But it's just to show you, there's all different levels that you can finish it. All right, that you can fight it and can stop it. Every single well has got something that can stop it. Every single one. It's either roads, lighting, you know, the area that it's in, noise pollution, the size of it. There's all various things, because it is multi-leveled. As much as it's multi-level that we've got, you know, that we've got to explain to people, we now stick to the basics. The fact that you're going to turn fresh drinking water into toxic waste. Which comes back to my next bit. Part of what I do is to get to as many meetings as I can, because I'm not an academic, but what I do is I go to a lot of meetings, a lot of presentations. The first one is our friend El Fegan. And I'm going to explain, so that, just listen to what they say first of all. Because what stopped Singleton and Beckinsale was the fact they couldn't get rid of the fracking waste, which you did mention in Hard Talk before. The guy that was called, a guy that I just went to listen to recently, and this is happening all over the country. This is why we need to go to all these meetings. These are pro-frackers, these are pro-professors. So these are puppet professors with sham surveys that you've heard mentioned in the Royal Society. Lord Brown had a hand in that, the report. You know, the chairman of Cuadrilla. So this is what they're going to be, one way, again, they're going to be disposing of the water. It's not, it's fracking fluid. It's toxic soup. So, yeah, but it's certainly not water, is it?
But from day one in the UK, that is going to be more important. Site selection is very important, and how we do it, and that tends to be more complex also. And water treatment and recycling is a major business opportunity. We do get water back out of the shale. You get water back from conventional oil and gas reservoirs. It's not a lot of difference, but it does need to be treated before it can be discharged into water courses of the sea.
Just to remind, the second guy is a guy from Keele University that have got a coal bed methane well drilled, tested on the university grounds. And this guy's got no, you know, no connection with the oil and gas industry. Okay, so we're talking that, you know, he is a puppet professor. His boss, who's now retired at Keele University, was the guy called Peter Stiles that put the report together for the pre-salt farm. So I'm just going to play that a little bit for you again, just because what it was, I had to put that through a speaker to boost it up, because Francis Egan, and when they whisper the little bits that you don't want to hear. So they're going to be disposing of it in watercourses, and which they've already got 800,000 gallons from the pre-salt farm site before they needed a permit, went into the Manchester Ship Canal. So water sort is already, so they're admitting to it now. But the thing is, they can say then, I'm pretty sure now, it's so they can say it's public consultation. They've said at any meeting in the country, that's why we all need to get to as many meetings as we can and record. Forget if they want you, it's a public meeting, you record it and we share it. So I'm going to play that again, and then Ian Stripson, I think this guy's called, Ian Stripson, he was underneath. So just listen carefully to what he says. And I had to boost it up to try and just get this little bit.
Yes. What do you propose is done with the contaminated water that comes out of the Well, I mean, as I said, this is not me proposing. I'm going to say that currently, what happens to that water is that essentially it goes into the Irish Sea. Well, it's not supposed to
Did you just say it has lots of Sellafield in it?
Sorry?
Did you just say it has lots of Sellafield in it?
It has a lot of waste products on it.
Oh, that's okay.
No, I didn't say it was okay. I'm saying that it is. Yeah, that's the actuality of the situation. Yes.
Yeah, it's a bit blurry on here because, like I said, it's been recorded through another speaker. What he just said then was it's going to go into the Irish Sea, right? And he said it's already full of Sellafield waste. So when I was asking him, are you saying that's okay to have Sellafield waste in there into the Irish Sea? I remember we've just had an award or gone for an award to get it all cleaned up. Now we're going to be dumping a lot of this fracking fluid because it's too expensive to treat. Can't be treated. All right, simple. He also says a bit later on that you're going to in Yorkshire, Rydale area, they're going to be putting it in the ground because it's too far away from the coast. I told you I waved my hands a lot. Right, the next one. There's loads of these, by the way, but it was just to give you an idea of when they're doing these presentations. We need to be getting to these presentations. All the other groups know about it as well. All the other groups I'm going to said if there are any professors in your area, they're puppet professors and they are pro-fracking because there ain't many that I know of that are and they're using sham surveys. So I'm saying to you, contradiction. And a lot of these things, because I've been to a lot of meetings, like I said, there's a lot of stuff in this head that I've heard, and until people ask me questions, that's what's good about tonight. Tells people I don't know what I've heard, but I can help and I can join the dots up. That's why I go around to a lot of communities and tell people and join the dots up. And it's really just literally just paid off in a big way just recently. You was going to ask me a question?
Well, I'm going to say Rydell and Pickering, they've got an aquifer and they get water for Scarborough.
Yeah.
It's probably nowhere near as big as ours.
But they're drilling into sandstone. I went over there beginning of last year and they did a presentation. In fact, I quizzed John Dewar. He didn't know who I was, and I got a lot of stuff out of him and I recorded the conversation. And he admitted that the perforation gun that goes down the well with 180 charges on it, it's got depleted uranium in it.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you a question about that.
Right, well, I'll explain this, but saying about the 180 charges, and they got that from John Dewar. But as soon as I saw that, it showed like a side section, if you will, right from the well face. It was like a big side section, like a slice section, if you will, and it was all sandstone. I said, where's the shale? And as soon as I saw that, I went, that's the injection well. It's porous, isn't it? You know, I knew what it was as soon as I saw it. And when I asked the geologist that was there, again, very knowledgeable about the geology side of it, but you knew when he was lying when he started talking about fracking. And I said, where's the shale? He went, that little sliver there. I went, I can't see any shale. Sorry, mudstone. I forgot that. It's not shale. That guy said, John gets mad at me when I say it's shale. It's mudstone from now on.
Well, it's sedimentary rock with organic.
It's shale. Like fracking. They want to change fracking now, don't they? The terms of fracking as well. Right. So what I'm saying to you is, they keep contradicting themselves. All you got to do is listen.
I can tell you why the one that is drilled into the file, why the cement was set. Well, they've gone right into the middle of the aquifer. The porous water, it'd all be full of water, all that rock.
Yeah.
That's why the cement was set. I could have told him that.
Yeah.
Well, if you looked on the website, you can see. You get the spiel out about.
Well, how do you make cement?
Don't mix it with too much water.
But you mix it with water to get it fluid, and then they're pushing it down there under a mountain of pressure to get it down there. The rock surface and it's going through an aquifer, which is water.
Well, if it wasn't below 2,000 feet, it'd be in the aquifer.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense what they're doing. And 6% of the wells fail by that's their own admitters as well. 50% over 15 years.
Anyway, you mentioned uranium.
Yeah, I'm just going to explain quickly about that. And it was brought up in Lancashire County Council as well. Like I said, it was backed up by John Dewar. It's Halliburton. I've got the patent for the perforation gun. Yeah, they also make not just perforation guns but bombs. with depleted uranium in as well. It's another way of disposing of it, basically. So what they do is when they put the they can have over 30 different fracks. Each one of the perforation guns, it's not like a gun what you think of, it's got little cone shapes all the way down, and they spiral all the way down. There's 180 on each one. Each one has got a charge on the top and the bottom. This is how it was explained to me. When they set the charge off, it comes out like molten metal, like, and it melts. Charge. Yeah, it's what? Shaped charge. So it's that. But the thing is, you need, because it's high pressures down there, you need a high pressure, precise charge to burn through and he was really proud of the fact that it said it leaves no residue. You know, like you get a bullet going through, so it's on the other side it's got like a, you know, like a crown, if you will. He said he was really proud it just seals it. Proud of that. So it's depleted uranium then, the same what they put in the shells to melt through tanks. Yeah. All right, so that's you know, not only are they getting rid of that depleted uranium 180, there's going to be 30, at least 30 on one well. So you're looking at, was it 5,400 altogether? You're running up for me, cheers bud. So about 5,400 charges. Disappeared.
Sounds like a nuclear
gone.
Weapon.
Well, the thing is, you look at, so that's the way of getting rid of nuclear waste and getting paid for it. So they're getting paid to dispose of it, and also they're getting paid for the charge. So it's double whammy. You know what I mean?
They've come back 18 times to refract, so that's
yeah.
why they need all the charges.
Yeah.
But generally, they're about an average of about 10 drill holes from your vertical.
Well, they could be up to 60.
Yeah, well, that's why there's a lot.
You know what I mean? So the thing, that's why it's good to go to a lot of the meetings. A lot of the stuff, I'd say 85% of the stuff I've heard with my own ears. You know, so you get of the internet. The internet was a great tool at the beginning, but I've learned a lot more from going to meetings. There's another one when I went down to, when I walked to the EU, I went to a meeting at Canterbury. Well, there's a guy there from Wales, Welsh bloke, and it was another one that gets under the radar. In this country, you're not allowed to have open pits, you know, evaporation pits. Like in America, Australia, they can have bigger, what they do, they put the fracking fluid in there that evaporates into the air, okay? So they're not allowed that in this country. What he said, and only because I've been to so many meetings and understand what it's about, he said they can get these big inflatable rings that they're using for bomb disposal, you know, like to take the charge out. And they can get, I think it was 25 on a truck, and they can connect them together. Now, why would you want to connect them together? Because then it's above ground, you don't need planning permission for it. It's another way around getting which is not allowed in this country. For me, it's obvious because I've heard a lot of things and I know that bit about it. But why would you need that? Because when they're getting rid of the fracking fluid, they're supposed to be in double-line containers. And at the moment, they can't get rid of it. That's why they're going to put it in the water courses. But again, it's just literally listening to a lot of meetings. So, and it's radioactive. You know, it's radioactive waste they've got to get rid of. And they've got rid of 800,000 gallons before they needed a permit beforehand. So morally, it's the same fluid that Cuadrilla dumped in the Manchester Ship Canal. Then they're not allowed to do now without a permit. So morally, as a company, you know we can't trust them. They cannot be trusted. And they failed all all the sites. They're going to run over on the permits, or they've had problems with it. You know, cement wouldn't set. The well failed. This company's got 100% fail rate. How many companies would you know would have 100% and still be carrying on? It's a dead duck. This is an inept company, and they don't know what they're doing. They really do not know what they're doing. Yeah, should we give them a, yeah. Well, I don't actually know how to say it, so we're figuring out how much water that we're using. No, we'll leave that for the day. We'll leave that for the day. We've got a bit of a surprise for you when we come to Blackpool.
About this uranium, depleted uranium, blowing tanks up.
Yeah.
And he said they used to use copper, and he was talking about bullets. Now I don't know if he's sending bullets down the pipe. Anyway, I read another one about when they let these charges, they never talk about explosives. They don't bloody talk about them, do they?
No.
Anyway, I read one where they all stand around the perimeter of the drill site, your vertical. They all stand around to let these charges go off.
Mm-hmm.
Because the whole shoot might come out of the ground. I think that's why they stand back. But it says it depleted uranium and it cuts through the rock like butter. Now, if they, when they first drill out, do they work from the outside? And each time they come out 18 times, and they blow in about 100 yards, or 50 yards each time they come back to the centre, and then they would finish, would they? Is that how it's done?
Well, all the wells we've seen so far, and do you know a lot of wells in America, there's only one well on a pad. I didn't realise that, there's 1 or 2 on a pad. In this country, they're talking about doing between 20 and 60. Now, I've heard that of John Dewar and Francis Egan as well. But they normally start, a pad is what they drill on, you know, that, so that's been prepared beforehand, and they'll say it's got a lining on it so it can't be spilling away and everything. But like I said, in America, there's only 1 or 2 on a pad. Because has anybody ever seen any where they've got 10 Christmas? I've never seen one. No. I've seen one with 1 or 2 on, but in this country, and I've heard it from both of them, and I've heard it down in London various times, and they say it the same way, between 20, not 10, between 20 and 60 on a site. So we're outdoing the Americans for once. We don't want that, do we?
They did say at one stage anywhere between 2,000 to 4,000 wells in this sort of vicinity.
Well, to get the amount out to make it profitable, so you're going to have to. No, it's not a handful of wells.
No, they did say when we had the meeting at the church, they said we had that engineer up there, and they said it was going to be between 2,000 and 4,000 wells.
Mm.
They said that it would employ so many people, but then when they changed their mind on that, they said that there'd probably only be about 3 to 4 people on each side.
Well, 11, and we said that numerous times when we were at Lancashire Council. That was mentioned because it's in the Arrow report. 11 on site.
Because they were implying that it was going to be like hundreds and hundreds and
yeah.
hundreds of jobs, and it's nothing near what they were implying.
Well, the government have ignored all their own reports.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
All their own reports.
They paid £4.5 million for that first report.
That's it.
But those 2 high-up scientists, they were given that report to say that they probably wouldn't even get 10% of what they were being told back in frack gas, and they still ignored that. DEFRA report redacted.
Yeah. The latest report saying when people are, when people know about fracking, they're against it. That's their own report, and they just completely ignore it. But that's this government ignoring it. They can do. That's fine by us, but we will remind them. We'll remind communities around the country. So, Bob, do you want to say something?
Yeah, the reason that they could do multiple wells here, multiple laterals here in the UK, is because our shale layer here, particularly here in Lancashire, in Fylde, is 2 kilometres thick. In the USA, the shale is only about
shallower,
500 to 1,000 feet thick. Therefore, they cannot get multiples into it.
Okay, thank you. Right, just what I'm going to do is now is, because we're running out about a bit of time, is, again, the flip side. From day one, when I walked down to London, it was always to do networking, because I realised that communities speaking to each other and sharing information is the way that we're going to stop this. Because I'm not just want to stop Cuadrilla, I want to grind the whole industry to a halt. And we're getting there, we're absolutely getting there. Just to reel off, we've got West Sussex, the group there, they got rid of 2 planning applications in West Sussex. That was the group, that was the community did that. East Kent against fracking put 1 hell of a fight. Again, they've got well connected, but they frightened off the drillers there. Southwest, so it's not just about drilling for shale and gas. Climate change is really driving this as well, because councils are taking it serious. And in South Wales, an application for many more tonnes of open cast mine was again turned down because of climate change. We cannot burn the fossil fuels, and it's the councils that are taking it serious and not our government. That's why we can't trust them. That's why it's got to be communities fighting their corner. And just what we did in this, what our strength has been in this area is the fact that the communities from Singleton, Rosica, Preston New Road, Fleetwood, Preston, Lytham, St Anne's, all the groups in this area have all got different groups, have all supported each other and met to support each other, either in Preston or it used to be in Wigan, and that was to share information and to support each other to stop the Fylde gas field, and it's bloody well paid off. Now what I'm doing is I'm going over to Nottingham, and there's groups over there now. There's groups now that travel from Lincoln and Nottingham to Mizzen, about 20, 30 miles to go and support them. We've got villages and towns supporting another group in another town. This has never been done before. We've got some people don't even talk to the next door neighbour, and now helping other groups in other areas, and they're supporting each other. Down here now, I'm going down there to Poole in Dorset. They've got one in Swanage, which is around about there somewhere. The Isle of Wight, they've got just at the moment just a pedal licence, which is just numbers and letters on a piece of paper. So they're right at the beginning. So what we're doing is we're working with the Isle of Wight. Did I say the Isle of Man then? I keep saying the Isle of Man. The Isle of Wight, now they're island spirit. They're like a little England, and they're right at the beginning. So we're working with them to see if we can get a block to stop the drillers from coming in. If it works, and they've got good councillors there, like I said, a good island spirit, then they can roll it out for the rest of the country. Sorry? All right. I'm going to stick with Shale. So what I'm saying to you there is the island spirit on there, and they've just had an application for something like 40 or 50 wind turbines turned down, costing hundreds of jobs in the green and renewable industry, and now they're being allowed a licence on there. Now, I'll just answer your question and I'll explain why I've got this map up.
No, I was just going to mention about David Icke as well.
All right. He's a love affair. You're going to have to get him in here one day, aren't you? Right, so what does that map, when I saw that, it screamed to me something. Right? What does that say to you? What does that map say to you? Because these are where the pedal licenses, they're numbered. So you've got your letter and then you've got numbers of the pedal licenses. So these here. So it'll be ST97 or 96, whatever. What does that say to you? To me, when I saw it, I was incensed when I saw that map. Anybody? No, it's more than that. This country used to be Great Britain. Then it was Britain. Then it was United Kingdom. Then it was UK. Then it was UK PLC. This is the last bit. They've now numbered towns, cities, villages. You are now a number. Corporate takeover. So they're making it simple to sell on. See it? See what they're doing? So when I saw that, and I tell you what, I'm not a number. Are you a number? No. We are communities with histories and futures. And that's why, when people are starting realising what the hell's going on here, these are all blocked off. Nice little inboxes there to sell on to the corporations. Well, people live here. People that are fighting. We are Great Britons. And I want Great Britons to start standing up for themselves. Because I tell you what, once they realise, they ain't going to be doing this anywhere in this country. I will stop them. Are you going to stop them? We're going to stop. Are you going to stop them?
Yeah. We're all going to stop.
We're going to stop them, no matter what it takes. So it is. They're not going to frack. What they've got to understand is we want it stopping now. And I've got a bell here, and I'm going to explain a little bit of something about that as well. Hello.
That's just the Ordnance Survey grid coordinates.
No, well, this is the. See that there? What it is pedal licenses. So the DEC sell off these pedal licenses, but all at the moment they're just numbers. So we're up here. You can see where we are, and Lancashire and Yorkshire, aren't we the lucky ones? We've got pedal licenses. But just to let you as well, Rydell over there, they've got all the groups working together. We've got a good group up in Scotland, fantastic group in Scotland. They've got a moratorium in. Wales are outstanding. In fact, there's groups in Wales where they've actually. When I did the hunger strike down in London, there's a lot of people came up speaking to us. There's a group came up, and they have got rid of Shale, Fracking, in their council, 15-0. We didn't even know the group existed. Without anybody's help, just the community, 15-0. I thought we were doing well. We're 9-0, 9-6. So all over the South Wales there was open cast mining. That was turned down again because of climate change. We've got Swanage down here. The people from West Sussex are helping them down there. We've obviously got Reef over here helping Rydell. When Rydell win at their place, they'll pass it on to another group. That's why it's going to grind the whole industry down. Everybody fights their corner. Everybody stops it in their corner, but we share information. We share
share, 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 share,
This here is the MEDAC report, and this is just going to explain to you now why it's good about communities and sharing information. I went to Friends of the Earth, and I've not got a really high opinion of Friends of the Earth now, I will be honest with you, or Greenpeace, I've got an high opinion, but I asked them, can we get some more of these printed up? Because this is key to us finishing, and I'll tell you why. In New York, the health professionals, in America, they were being gagged in America basically, but there's about 400 faculties, doctors, medicals, universities got together and put together a compendium called the Concerned Health Professionals of New York. That was handed, peer-reviewed papers, handed into Cuomo, the governor of New York, and he banned fracking after a 5-year moratorium. This is our version. That's why it's so important that we had some more printed up. Now, a place called Kern and Lindsay, you want to talk about a group like really hitting the ground running, they're about there somewhere, Nottingham Way, little tiny village. They got some money from Lush, and the first thing they did, it cost £2,300. They got a price list for 5,000 copies. The most that were printed before was 1,000 copies. So this little village stepped up to the plate, and I've got 600 at my house now ready for an action that I'm going to be doing down in Downing Street. It's showing you that communities, when we work together and we work well and we share and we trust each other, we can move mountains, we can stop fracking. It's easy, but it's bloody hard work, and that's what we've got to do now. We've got to step up to the plate, put the pressure on, and we can finish it this year. I know that because I've been doing it for 4 years. I know the difference, I know the momentum. 43% in a YouGov poll are against fracking. And I wrote the figures down. He said it was 43% against, 29% for, meaning what, 28%? And he said the majority are undecided. Oh, hold on, 43%, 28%. He even got that figure wrong. Grasping at straws. We are winning. And the last time, before the election, there was a vote on having a moratorium on fracking. And Labour abstained. So we lost that one. So a whole party abstained from fracking. When we just had the last one about the national parks, fracking the national parks, we lost by 37 votes. We're getting closer. And 39 Labour abstained. The tipping point is nearly there. What happened when they decided to allow the national parks to be fracked? I was happy with that, because that opened up a new swathe of people that didn't know about fracking. When you've got billionaires, farmers, people that camp there, people that fish there, people that cycle there, horse riders, yeah, gentry. These are our jewels in the country, and they're going to allow fracking. About another 1 million people went, crikey, what's this fracking blowing out? We better stop it. That's why it's turning. They've got complacent, they think they can get away with whatever they want. They've got a mandate to frack us, a mandate to tell us what they're going to do. They're not going to do it. We tell them what they're going to do. We stop them. Communities are rising. Democracy is coming back to every single group when I'm going around the country. You see it in every single place. And they're coming on thick and fast. And it doesn't take that many. Really doesn't. As long as they're committed and they keep at it. And get the word out and tell your friends, tell your community, tell your towns. Like I said, Kern and Lindsay stepped to the plate, 5,000 copies. And this is going to be a major thing we're going to be doing at Westminster. I will be going down there, taking it to Westminster. We've got a decision that's going to be made at Blackpool Football Club on the 9th of February through to the 18th of March. There will be... the hearings will be Tuesday to Friday, between the 9th of February. At the end of that, it then goes to the Secretary of State and he makes the decision. And like I'm saying to everybody, don't be panicking, don't be worrying about it. Whatever decision they come out with, it's going to stop fracking in this country. We won at Lancashire, that was massive, that was the step. That's where we won and won the people over. Like I said to you, the worst thing that they could do was overrule that democratic decision. You're going to see the people rising. And I'm not talking about the streets, I'm talking about councils, MPs rising, because that's the death of democracy. When you overrule a democratic decision after thousands and thousands of reports and information that's been presented to that council. What they're going to do next? Go into our courts and start overruling there? That's where TTIP comes in. We're on the brink with fracking. We've got to thank fracking because it's raising people's awareness. The big society's here, but no way were Cameron was thinking about it. Wanted it to happen. Now the bell. Just to let you know, I'm going to be doing another walk to London. Hopefully it'll be my last one. The reason being is, I've already mentioned the Medac report. In New York, they had a 5-year moratorium. And after 5 years, the health professionals handed their report to the governor, overwhelming that you've got to stop fracking. This report has been in Cameron's hand. I know, because I posted it to the door with a letter in there of intent, saying that now you've got this, now you've got the evidence, you've got a duty of care not to frack this country. That was nearly 8 weeks ago and he still hasn't replied yet. So they're obviously taking it serious. So once he's read this report, in his hand or not, it's been in his hand. Once he's replied to that one, then we start to really get into it. Because the thing is, he knows now, all he's had is industry. All he's had is Lord Brown on the cabinet table telling him fracking is the best thing since sliced bread. Now he has no excuse. On April the 1st, it will be 5 years since we had the earthquakes here on the Fylde coast. That was the alarm call. That was the wake-up call for this country. So on April the 1st, I want everybody to get bells and make as much ding-dong noises, alarm clocks, outside your councils, and let's finish it by April the 1st. Wake the country up, get outside your councils, because the alarm went off and we should not now still be in fear of our communities. We shouldn't, our lives have stopped. Anybody to do with fracking, everybody's trying to fight fracking, our lives have stopped. The people at Preston Road and Rosica are living in fear every single day. You go to bed waking up. I think about this every single day. But I do go to bed with a smile on my face because I know we're making a difference. I didn't realise how much power I had because I didn't need to use it. But now that I know that what we can do as communities, democracy is coming back to this country, it's the start of great things. Now, once we finish fracking, and we will do, then I'll be fighting for the rest of my life to get this country back on its feet and making it fair for people, like the NHS. When I saw people down in London, there's 2,000 people on the streets in London, a third of them are soldiers. Broke my heart. Well, nobody should be on the streets, but to fight for your country, and then how bad is this country when that's happening? My life is now committed to doing this. And like I said, I'm happy, I'm smiling, because I can make a difference. And that's what's going to happen to this country now. From now on, we are going to make a difference. Great Britons are going to rise. And it's not going to be violence. It's going to be leading the world with green and clean energy, showing that democracy works, showing that we can get these Tories out, because I truly believe this is going to finish the Tory party. All right? So, are we going to stop fracking?
Yes.
Do you know something? It's perfect. That just hits the nail on the head, because we are polite, we're right people. We don't have to be shouting and screaming. We're determined. We quietly get on with it. All right.
The public, the inquiry, is it a public inquiry?
Yeah.
Go to it.
Yeah, it's planning inspector that comes from, is it Cardiff, South Wales? She looks at, and apparently she's really balanced. And she looks through all the information, passes that report to the Secretary of State, and he goes like that. He goes, yeah, pass it. Oh. So.
Thursday the 9th of February, at Blackpool Football Club, is that because there's a big area that we can all go and listen?
We can go along. There's a car park. What it is, we'll be in private land. We know what it's all about, but we'll be in private land. There's the car park on the other side there, and that's where we can protest, pardon me. But the big day is the 9th, it'd be the 9th of Feb, but we'll be working on other things.
Well, I've got answers. I've written 3 letters.
Yeah.
And I've got 3 answers, but this is just the one that's saying the inquiry on. Will I be entitled? Well, if you don't give me a proper answer, I'm going to have to write to Lancashire County Council. I'm just trying to save myself a bit of work.
You know what it is? That's literally just come in. So, yeah, do you want to?
I can answer.
Yeah.
They've extended the period of the meeting now, so it's going to be over 20 days.
Yeah, it says that.
5 weeks. Yeah. And what they've done with the rooms is they've actually tried to pull a flanker with the rooms.
Really?
with room they're using, and they put tables and chairs in there, which restricts the number of people that can be in there. But it's a public inquiry, so every member of the public is entitled to go. Obviously, for health and safety, fire escape, reasons and stuff like that, they have said that they will restrict the occupation of those rooms. It'll be on a first come, first served basis. Initially, they said. Initially, they said you can only have 40 people in there on either side, so that's 80 in total. Now they've said first come, first served. When the room's full, the room's full. So you could attend on any of the days of the inquiry, just to see what's going on.
Well, a public inquiry as well, they've got to facilitate anybody that goes there. So if 200 people turn up, they've got to facilitate for it, so they need a bigger place. Simple as that, because it's a public inquiry.
They're just trying to be clever.
Of course, yeah. Well, we had that at Lancashire County Council. By the way, just to, when we won at Lancashire County Council, this is what this is about now. This great lady, Penny, Councillor Penny, and I'm going to leave you with this one. And this is just showing to you the power of our councils now, the fact now that we're educating, and we spoon-fed them the questions to ask Perigo. Okay, so it's just showing that we the momentum is clearly and definitely with us. And I forgot what I was going to say then, the council, yeah, so I'm going to leave you with this one. Councillor Penny, and this was the Singleton, this was the well that roared, and this was one particular lady, and just listen to how powerful that she's speaking. Really proud when I heard this.
I was a little surprised actually to have heard Councillor Gooch when he said we weren't to look to the future, it has to be now. That would be extremely irresponsible. I mean, this was the very, very first county council, indeed any authority, not just in this country but in the world, to publish our own green audit of this county, of which we were extremely proud, and we were in fact feted throughout the world for what we'd done. Now we have to look to the future for the people of Lancashire. If only the people of Lancashire, but quite frankly, we have to look even wider than that. Here we have responsibility for setting a precedent in this country, and for that we must step very, very carefully. I was also surprised to hear that we shouldn't really be thinking about the environment, the ecological environment, our carbon footprint. I mean, we've heard about the rooting out of hedgerows. We've heard about, I haven't heard yet from Cuadrilla what they intend to do with the water that they're taking out of here. For example, how far are any wastewater treatment plants? How far are these lorries going to be polluting and using the roads throughout our county? Or even further than our county, indeed, because I'm sure that they don't all exist in Lancashire, these treatment plants. Wales, yeah. The ARUP surveys are inadequate. I think that that's been proved if we are to believe that a longer survey that's been done quite thoroughly, in my opinion, from what we heard on Monday. So I know which survey I would prefer to depend upon. And as someone who lives near Morecambe Bay, and I see those hooper swans coming across my house regularly, I want to continue to see those. We've heard about John's carp ponds not yet been tested, which shows to me a cavalier attitude towards the environment. I don't care that the carp actually drown, they could be sticklebacks and minnows as far as I'm concerned, but it does show that somebody's not caring as much as they should care. Industrialisation of the countryside as well. I think that is going to happen. Once we haven't looked at an alternative to this, I think it's our responsibility to looking for an alternative to this fracking, or even to approach it from a different way. Maybe even some sort of extraction. Not that I can see that being a possibility at all. But I do believe that this committee would be acting recklessly, completely recklessly, if we were not, as has already been said, if we do not look to who is going to be responsible for this in the future, and our children, grandchildren, anyone to come in Lancashire after us are going to be responsible for what is being left on our plate now to make a decision on. And that I'm going to find extremely hard.
Well done, lady! Right, the only thing that comes after that is...
If I may, Chair, thank you. A lot of interesting points.
Yeah, he's the pro fracker. But what I'm saying to you is, again, spoon-fed those questions in the first place. If we hadn't given them the information, then they wouldn't have known about the dangers of fracking, except what the planning officer had given to them. That is now our power. Now that we've got a democratic decision, that's what they're trying to take away from us, and that's exactly what we're fighting for. Well done, everybody. Oh, sorry, mate.
Yeah, just from a legal perspective, have you ever asked a question on about the insurance bonds and how long they're in place for?
Is it 10 billion? They've only got it's public liability. Yeah.
So it falls on the public
every single time, and that's just been confirmed by the government. That yeah. There's every dirty trick you can think of, and every way they can get out to save money, they'll do it. It's always going to come down to the community paying for it, whichever way you look at it. Just look at this now. What's happening now? We've got now a public inquiry. So the government are using our money, tax money. We've got the council using our rates, and then Preston Road and Rosica have got a raise in the region of over £100,000 between them. Who's paying? We're paying. That's why we're not going to let it happen. Yeah, we are not going to let it happen. And when George Osborne, I happened to be down in Downing Street, across from Downing Street when he announced this, he's offering in the last budget £1 billion to communities affected by fracking. Sorry, it's not. We're just saying how we're going to be affected, and how much we're going to be affected. But to bribe us with £1 billion,
it might not cover the costs.
No, it's not a case of that. It's the fact that it started at 100,000. It's now £1 billion.
Yeah. The bigger the bribe, the bigger the lie.
And that's it. So we're going to stop it. It's just a case of when we're going to stop it. Good. Thanks for coming down tonight, everybody. And like I said, just keep going, keep fighting.